this guy. Nah, spawning in the bottom right position, though, is going to be our blue Terran player, trying to even things out. If he wins this game, we go to an ace match. Coming in for Team Acer, it is MMA. And our first Protoss player of the day, unless I'm blind, I'm pretty sure this is our first Protoss of the day, is going to be coming in for MVP. Well, I mean, does he need an introduction? He is Swagger. I don't understand sometimes when these Korean guys, because you know, like you get a lot of people, you know, a lot of Americans, I guess I should say, or foreigners that see interesting Asian names, and you know, like you get people that want to get like tattoos of, you know, like Chinese characters or something. And then you get like you get this guy, and he's like, well, I think what I want is to have my name be this cool American word. It's like Swagger. Although I guess it's technically not like the worst possible option, but because I think there's a difference between Swagger and the word that a lot of people hate being swag. I mean, Swagger is just a manner of carrying. It's just a manner of how you carry yourself. With a slight air of confidence, you know what I mean? Like that's your swagger, but I digress. We're gonna have a gas opening from MMA, which I do like. The barracks fast gas. This should be for this would be a quick Reaper build actually. That's what it looks like. Double gas though for Swagger. And the cool thing about the way that this is set up right now is MMA should be able to scout out any kind of proxy play, but Swagger has yet to send anything out that would be indicative of such tomfoolery. Second pylon. And the probe is not yet out meandering across the field. So, I think that's pretty much, yeah, nothing really crazy going to happen. He's going to saturate these gas geysers after he starts the cybernetics core with his probes that come out. No, he changes the rally. So, there's that Reaper coming up from MMA. And then he moves on the 2 SCVs mining gas, which is kind of neat because he wants to still mine the gas to get his reactor up. And then I imagine he'll just take all his SCVs off until he can get the money for a command center, which he can actually be able to afford quite quickly, in all frankness. So. Zealot on the way for Swagger. So what this looks like he wants to do when you open up with the Zealot like this is you want to be safe from being something like engineering bay blocked. You do not want your opponent to slap that eBay, and he's going to get over here, and we actually could see him cancel this Zealot. Yeah, he's going to cancel it because there's nothing here to block the Nexus. So smart play from Swagger, and he should get the Stalker or the Mothership Core out quite quickly, and the Mothership Core is coming in. Now, this is going to give MMA just enough time to scout out what's going on with the Reaper, but nothing else. He might be able to barely get a probe if he's lucky. But any decent level of control, and Swagger won't lose anything. The Mothership Core is here now, and the MMA's aggression already ended. So, the Reaper comes in, and it's important to take a look at what the Reaper saw. Yeah, now he's going to check for the expansion. That's so crucial. That, you know, if you see this setup, and your opponent doesn't have that Nexus, then all of a sudden it's a proxy. But now MMA is kind of like, well, where do I want to scout? He can really look around anywhere on the map. He's not particularly limited to anything individual, right? So we are going to have to see Sentry coming out now. And I like this. Going for the Sentry is a really greedy play. He's not getting any Stalkers. He's not worried about the map control. He wants to have his force fields build up. This could be a sign that he wants to go for a tech build. He's going to get a quick forge, actually, which is kind of neat. Perhaps anticipating further gas play from MMA. And MMA does have the command center. He is taking a second gas. He has his factory done as well. And there's an armory. So MMA is going to go for 2 base Hellbat drops, is what it looks like. And that's not a bad build. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this pans out to get the fast forge, because this is going to be most likely for something along the lines of Widow Mines. But it can help dealing with the Hellbats. You can shoot on the Medivacs, and that's kind of the cool thing about photon cannons. But I don't know. We'll have to see. It's quite an interesting variance between the two. Now, these Marines are going to go for a shove. Always like to call the difference between a poke and a shove. Well, I guess this actually be a poke. He doesn't have that many Marines. It's not really enough to be a shove. But the Reaper's going to come in here. Ooh, grabs a probe kill. Not bad. That's an annoying Reaper. And if you can get anything with that Reaper, it's worth it. I don't know if the Reaper is worth the force field, but I don't know. It might actually be. It's 50 gas. I think 50 gas is worth 50 energy. These Marines, yeah, I guess maybe one of them wouldn't be worth a force field, but MMA could be trying to proc the Photon Overcharge, and I think that's actually a really great play, because if he can keep the energy on the Mothership Core low, then when the Hellbat drop comes in a minute, which, well, hey, look at that. There'll be a Hellbat drop on the way here soon. That Mothership Core won't have enough energy to actually Photon Overcharge a Nexus to defend it from the Hellbats. And we actually see a Twilight Council on the way. This forge is not being used for upgrades. He has the robotics facility. He's getting out an observer. Actually, no, he's not. He's scouting with the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix has not scouted out the armory just yet. He does see this reactor factory, which is very important. Will he see the armory? Yes, so he knows exactly what's coming his way. He's going to get a warp prism up. We could see something like a fast charge with this warp prism. We could also see something like a dark shrine. Of course, the problem here is that this warp prism is way too early for it to be a dark shrine play. And it's going to be a dark shrine play, which is interesting. That warp prism it'll get there too early, to be honest. But the Hellbats are going to come in, so that warp prism is probably not going to be too useful for a little while. And now he's going to just come in here. Oh, drop on the sentries. Forget the probes, man. 300 gas down the toilet. All of his force fields are gone. That was actually fantastic. We have 2 cannons in the natural mineral line now. Stalker's going to be warped in, but did MMA see that dark shrine? Yes, he knows. He's going to drop into the natural. He's already done more than enough damage, and now he's even getting probe kills. This has been a fantastic bit of aggression from MMA, getting all of those sentries, and damn, the probes too. Now here comes the important part. He did scout the dark shrine. Did he actually pay attention to it though? Did he recognize that it wasn't a pylon? Did he, you know, there's so many tiny missteps you can accidentally make. We do have another Hellbat drop poised to jump in, but that cannot go to the natural. There's 2 cannons there and the mothership core. But dark shrine's about to complete. The engineering bays are about to complete as well. MMA, I hope you've got some scans saved up. He does have 1. There's actually, the warp prism's coming in with zealots, and it can warp in the DTs. This is going to be really hard. If MMA calls on a mule, he might screw himself here. Ooh, I'm so nervous. This is a tense moment. Here comes the warp prism. He does actually have the energy here. He's going to try to drop these zealots. The Hellbats will deal with these, no problemo though. And now we see 3 Dark Templar being warped in. This is a huge investment from MVP Swagger, and these DTs are going to go to town. Just go to town on these SCVs, really just digging into them. He's managed to kill 9 so far, but he has the missile turrets on the way. He needs to get one at his natural expansion. There's no proxy pylons, so he's limited purely to what's here. And, well, there's still 2 DTs inside of that warp prism. He does pick off one of them. As long as he can keep the DTs from being unloaded, he will be okay. But the problem is, there's only 3 Marines. He can actually just unload right on top of these units. No problem at all. He does have the missile turret in the mineral line, but he can try to go for add-ons. He can try to go for, well, I guess he can try to kill these units, but MMA's still done a lot of damage, which is important to note. The first Colossus is coming out. Now, Swagger does need to do a lot more than this if he wants to be able to stop MMA, because he does have the 3 command centers. He has 3 orbitals. That's a lot of scans. DT's going to try to run the front, but this observer doesn't know about the missile turret. Yes, he cannot just penetrate that area that easily. Little Mine actually almost might have seen that warp prism, but he's going to go. He's going to block the 3rd base. Smart play here from Swagger. And MMA, I mean, when you're in this kind of situation, you want to get your medevacs, you want to just get your core unit set up and just go for a big push, or at least drop. You know, if you're playing a defense, if you have to be defensive because of something like Dark Templar, going for the harass is never a bad idea. And we do see Swagger moving up to 6 gateways, totally fine, totally normal. He's on double forge play now, getting that +2 attack as well as his +1 armor. Now, something that's a little bit more interesting to me is how he wants to utilize the dynamic between the Dark Templar tech that he got and the Colossi. He is going to take a 3rd base, and I feel this is a smart move. Whenever you go for any kind of Dark Templar play, I think you should almost always try to get a fast 3rd, just because if you can do any amount of damage, then, you know, the Terran player can't really punish it. And if you don't do enough damage, then you kind of find yourself behind on tech to the point where you really need to find some other way to get a quick edge. So I do like the decision to take that 3rd. The Hellbat drop, though, is going to move in towards the main for MMA. He's going to get right on top of these probes. He's taking out a decent number of them. Not a crazy amount, though. He's actually only got 2 so far with this drop, so it looked like he was going to be able to get more. Look how many of these probes in the orange. Those could have all been kills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 probes he could have gotten there. But was not able to get the 2nd hit off on those units. Now, MMA wants to take this 3rd base, and the Dark Templar is just chilling under there. He's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. So, the other cool thing is that Swagger does have this observer here, so when MMA does move out to kill the DT, he'll know he can actually move the Dark Templar away and just kind of save it for later. Is he going to do that, though? That's an entirely different question on its own, but yeah, he's just going to kill it. Oh, well, he's going to try to get away. Scan. Oh, concussive shell. Sour about that. Now, we do have 2 Colossi in the field for Swagger, which is important, but MMA knows about this. He has already, even with his 3rd Colossus coming out, he's got the double Viking production going. He's actually moving on to double Starport all the way across the sky to get that quad Viking production. And yeah, he is really going beast mode with his macro here. He's going to need to get some depots. But aside from that, he is looking quite fine. And he's going to wait. +1 ship weapons. MMA is really focusing on the upgrades here. But +2 attack is done for our swagging up, our swag toss. The only thing that's really going to hurt him later on, I think, is this resources lost tab. And it's not that big of a deal as far as numbers. He's not like a crazy amount behind. But he's lost a lot of techie units. He lost those Dark Templar. He lost those sentries early on. He does have 3 sentries now, but, I mean, you know, having to replace the sentry slows everything else down. And I guess what I really mean to say with that is Swagger has 4 Colossi. He's building a 5th. He cannot switch into Templar right now. He cannot afford to. He does not have the luxury of being able to make such a switch of his production. And I do see this Dark Templar coming in. 7 kills, actually, just completely ravaging this third base. Deflowering it, as it were. And a Zealot's just going to sprint into the main. I love this. This guy's like a marathon runner straight into that mineral line. And he's going to start chewing away at these SCVs. I love this. That +2 attack. He's really going to be able to dig into these. There's only +1 armor available for MMA. He's going to try to fight this Zealot with SCVs. Now, SCVs may have these little drilling claws, but they are not trained in fisticuffs. He is going to lose quite a few to this Zealot. At least 6, maybe 7. There he goes, that 6 SCV. And, oh, there's 2 weak ones, and that Marauder shows up, gets the last grenade shot off. What a hero. Now, there are a good number of Vikings. There are about 9 of them. 2. Now, this is enough Vikings to 2-shot the Colossi, but, oh, man, his bio is in a pretty decent spot. Actually, this Stalkers, this is actually a really great position for MMA. He is doing so much damage. All these Colossi are going to die. But that last volley, oh, is he going to kill the Colossus? It is dead. That's it. Everything for Swagger. All the tech units are dead, and this is the weakness of not being able to make that Templar switch. We do have a Dark Templar weapon to help deal with these forces, but that will not be enough for now. Time Warp trying to slow the units away. He wants to bait him off of that Nexus. No such luck. The Mothership Core can Photon Overcharge the natural Nexus, but here's the problem. MMA was just able to get so much to counter the direct build order, and that's the issue. When you go for Colossi, typically you want to be switching into Templar around 15, 14 minutes, latest about 17, and still, Swagger was not able to afford that switch because he's invested, because he lost all those early sentries, because he had to replace the tech units that he lost, as well as those Dark Templars. So MMA, he's up 151 supply to 85. I mean, the upgrades are looking fantastic for Swagger. He has +3 attack about to finish. He has +3 armor starting, but MMA's 2-2. He doesn't have his 3-3 on the way just yet, but at this point, he doesn't really need it. He's so far up in supply, he could, well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything too crazy just because of the last person that died when I said that. But, more harass at the third base. And I mean, Swagger did a great job of harassing. Don't get me wrong. 21 killed. But MMA did such a better job of harassing him before the DTs even came into play. And that's one of the things is DTs are quite a commitment to make in the first place. But if you're economically behind when you go into DTs and they don't win you the game, then it's like, okay, I killed some SCVs, I'm almost even, but he still has mules. And now the Vikings are going to press in. There are 3 Colossi. MMA needs to make sure he doesn't play too bravely here. If he loses all these Vikings, there are a good enough number of sentries to keep the bio off of the Colossi. And ooh, there's 1 Colossus remaining, and this might be too much bio for MMA. Another Viking does roll on up here, and Swagger is going to lose absolutely everything here at this natural expansion. We could see an ace match. GG. And MMA is going to tie this series up 4-4 in our Acer TeamStory Cup best of 9. You know what? We have so many matches go to the ace match. It's not even funny. I couldn't make this up if I was being paid to, guys. That was a really nice game by MMA, and, you know, it came a lot down to that early pressure that he did. From the opening moments, you know, he was very aggressive with that Reaper. He was very aggressive with his Marines, and we kind of saw the way that he used only 5 Marines and a Reaper to force out the Photon Overcharge. Normally, you wouldn't need to use Photon Overcharge for that because you'd have a Stalker. You can kite the Marines, you can kind of play around with the Reaper's heart, you know, tell them that you love them, but then in the next day you end up with someone else. But he went pure sentries, so he didn't have that position that he wanted, and well, he ate pavement. So we're going to see. We're on the ace match now. Who will MMA play against for the title of this match? Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching the Acer TeamStory Cup final game between MVP and Acer coming up.